this episode, we have the F2 and F1 reports, the many woes of Alpine, Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, the worst decision in the world. All that and more right here on the F1 Chat. Hello there in internet land. This is episode 11 of the for the 20... Fuck it. I'm off to a humdinger, right.
We're flying.
We're going live. We're going live, damn it. Right. Hello there in internet land. This is episode 11 of the 2024 season of the F1 Chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Seated to my left is a man who he's seated here for a change. He's seated here. It's JB. JB, how are you?
Yeah, it's the old switcheroo. As Crofty would say.
Or as Super GT would make fun of him, going, "Oh, it's the old switcheroo."
Yes, I am here, and you are there.
And he's not seated to my right. He's joining us via satellite, the old school way that they do on old school television shows. Is Longhorn. Longhorn, how are you doing?
I'm good. It's it was very different.
I thought you were doing the delay thing we were just talking about.
Just delay
for the listeners at home, where this week me and JB have done the switcheroo, as we said earlier, and JB's in the studio, and I'm actually the one that's 200 k's away. So yeah, hopefully we don't get too much delay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that works out really well. Oh, I like this joke. This is a good one. Let's see how annoying it gets by the end of the episode.
The worst part is that I don't know if you're playing with me or if it's a real delay. So
we're going to act like we're frozen in a second.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
The joke doesn't work on radio.
It's just dead air for the listeners. They're like, the fuck's going on?
Yeah. They're sitting there tapping their phone going, what? What the fuck? Right.
They're just that eager to listen to the F1 chat. They don't want the pause. They just want the voices of the three amigos that are us.
The seductive tones of my sultry voice coming through in stereo.
I'm aroused.
I want an erection. I mean election. Right. So Spanish F1.
Yes.
This weekend, and isn't this the last time they're at Catalonia?
I believe so.
Yeah. I hate to
Madrid.
say it, but I'm kind of glad to see this track go.
It's not a fun track.
No.
It's very boring.
But
It's been boring for a while.
Yeah, I mean,
the race actually wasn't too bad, to be completely honest. Like, it was pretty... I mean, for me,
yeah.
Lando almost caught Max, but... yeah, I actually didn't think it was that bad of a Spanish Grand Prix. We've definitely had worse ones.
Oh, yeah. But,
Yeah, it wasn't terrible, but it was also pretty similar to last year's, where I don't think we had one yellow flag event.
No.
The entire time?
No, I think all the cars finished the race.
Yeah, every car finished the race. We had no yellow flags.
You know it's a good weekend when Logan Sargent finishes a fucking race.
He did finish dead last.
Yeah, but he finished.
He didn't hit the wall. Yeah, actually, the funny thing is Alex Albon was the one who went in the gravel.
Yes, Alex Albon was the one that left the track, but he was fine.
Right. So we're going to kick off with the F2 results. So we hand it over to Senor Longhorn for the F2 results. Take it away, Senor.
The F2 results from the Spanish GP in Barcelona. So we have a sprint race, as always, for the F2. So I'll give you the top three. I unfortunately only got to watch the highlights this week. I'm a very busy man as I'm away at work over the hill, a couple 100 miles away. So I've only got to watch the results, but the top three for the sprint race, as I always give you. Paul Aaron finished in third. Kush Miney finished in second. And Victor Martins took his first victory of the season this year. The F3 winner from last year. And took out the racer in for the sprint race. So then we get to the feature race, where I'll give you a top 10 for the feature race. Just so everyone knows as well, if you do want to go and look up a full-on race report, the F2 on the F2 Championship website, if you go on there, they've got a massive big write-up that I won't read out to everyone because it would just drown everyone, put everyone to sleep. But if you are interested in that, go on the website and it's all up there for you. But I'm just going to give you the race results and the standings this week. So the top 10 for the feature race: Gabriel Bortoletto finished in 10th. Pepe Marti finished in 9th. Amory Cordial finished in 8th. Zane Maloney finished in 7th. Kush Miney finished in 6th. Isaac Hadjar finished in 5th. Paul Aaron finished in 4th. Juan Manuel Correa finished in 3rd, his first podium for a very, very long time. Franco Colapinto finished in 2nd, and Jack Crawford took out the win. And now if we just quickly go over to the standings. So, top 10 for the standings right now. We have Zach O'Sullivan, the Williams Academy driver, who actually got his first win a couple of weeks ago in Monaco. I wasn't on that episode, so I didn't get to talk about it, but it was actually something to do with Williams getting a win, which is pretty unheard of these days. So that was pretty exciting. Yeah, that's right. So, but here in the standings, he's sitting at 10th with 40 points. In 9th, we have the second coming of Max Verstappen, if you ask Toto Wolff, in Kimi Antonelli with 48 points, who's not really lighting it on fire, but he's up there in the top 10. Kush Miney's in 8th with 50 points. Gabriel Bortoletto's 7th with 55 points. Franco Colapinto is 6th with 56 points. Dennis Hauger is 5th with 56 points. Jack Crawford is 4th with 62 points. Zane Maloney is 3rd with 75 points. Isaac Hadjar 2nd with 91 points. And Paul Aaron is 1st with 100 points. It's kind of an interesting year in the Formula 2 at the moment because no one's really running away with it. There's sort of just a lot of guys that are there or thereabouts. So it's going to be an interesting second half to the season for the Formula 2 who can pull away and gain some consistency and build up a good amount of points to go for the run home and potentially take this championship out because it's kind of up in the air at the moment.
Who does Paul Aaron is his name? Paul
Aaron?
Who does he represent?
That is a great question. I'll have a quick look for you now.
I'd crack up if he was Alpine.
Well, he drives for the high tech. He's Estonian.
He's a stoner.
And he is a Mercedes junior team driver.
Well, the
I know.
Well, he's a Mercedes Academy driver, and yet they want Kimi Antonelli. Like,
yeah.
I hate to say that, but I mean, like, isn't results what you want?
It's a results-driven business, if you ask him.
Well, I mean, mind you, apparently Haas are on the cusp of announcing Oliver Behrman's going to be driving for them next year. Oliver Behrman, I think, is 13th in the F2 standings.
Yeah, I'll have a quick look for you there, but he's not lighting the world on fire either. He is, you don't have to go lower than that. He's 17th with 18 points.
Yeah. Oh my God,
but you know, the funny thing is he's still 13th in the F1 standings.
Isn't that crazy?
Good on him.
And,
we've got some breaking news when we get to the news segment. Remind me. It's gonna knock your socks off.
Breaking news on the podcast.
No, Pierre. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to the news. I've got to do the F1 report. I got some breaking news.
Okay, all right. Well, it is in fact time for the F1 report. So when you stop fucking about with your phone.
Well, it just actually popped up as breaking news on the F1 site, so you can probably find it. And be equally
Got a little bit of breaking news on the body.
2024 Aramco Spanish Grand Prix from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Yeah, he just found it.
Getting fucked!
Lap 1. Lando Norris starts on pole position alongside Max Verstappen. Lando
You know what I have to do now, right, boys?
Lando squeezes Max to the grass. George Russell gets a rocket start from the second row, sweeping into the lead of the race as Max gets past Lando. Lap 3, Max Verstappen sweeps around the outside of Russell into turn 1 to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Lap 4, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz make contact into turn 1. Sainz pushed off onto the tarmac. Both get away undamaged. Lap 16, George Russell and Carlos Sainz pit for medium tyres. Lap 17, Lewis Hamilton pits for mediums. Sainz passes Alonso for 7th. Lap 18, Max Verstappen pits for mediums. Lap 19, Lewis Hamilton passes Carlos Sainz for 6th. Lap 21, Max Verstappen passes Oscar Piastri for 3rd. Lap 24, Lando Norris pits for mediums. Lap 25, Charles Leclerc pits for mediums. Lap 27, Lando Norris passes Carlos Sainz for 4th. Lap 32, Lando Norris passes Lewis Hamilton for 3rd.
Oh, get fucked.
Lap 35, Lando Norris passes George Russell for 2nd, but Russell fights it back before Lando finally shuts the door on him after a multiple corner battle. Lap 37, George Russell pits for hard tyres. Carlos Sainz pits for hards as well. Lap 44, Lewis Hamilton pits for soft tyres. Lap 45, Max Verstappen pits for soft tyres. Lap 46, George Russell passes Oscar Piastri for 4th. Lewis Hamilton passes Carlos Sainz for 6th. Lap 47, Lando Norris pits for soft tyres, just managing to hold off George Russell and maintain 2nd place. Lap 52, Lewis Hamilton passes George Russell for 3rd. Lap 55.
Yes, get in there, Lewis.
Carlos Sainz lets Charles Leclerc pass for 5th. Lap 60, Alex Albon slides into the gravel but continues. Lap 66, Max Verstappen wins the Spanish Grand Prix ahead of Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton. Lando Norris gets fastest lap and driver of the day.
In 4th place is George Russell in the Mercedes. 5th place is Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. 6th place was Carlos Sainz in the other Ferrari. 7th place was Oscar Piastri in the McLaren. 8th place was Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. 9th place is Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. And rounding out the top 10 is Esteban Ocon in the other Alpine. Well.
What a race. It was a good race. It was a good tyre battle.
Yeah.
And Lando Norris showed that the McLaren, it's probably another missed opportunity. It's actually the first time we've seen Lando Norris upset at finishing 2nd. I think the McLaren's almost on par with the Red Bull at certain tracks now. Like, the package is finally there.
Yeah, well, it's the same with the Mercedes. The Mercedes has really come on.
The Mercedes is caught up again.
And it's almost like, you remember last year how at the start of the year it was Red Bull and Aston Martin?
Yeah.
And then Aston Martin dropped off. And Ferrari is doing an Aston Martin. It's just dropped off.
Ferrari stagnated. Although, didn't they bring an upgrade that didn't work?
They did, but apparently there's more upgrades coming to work with the current upgrades.
Yeah. To synchronise across the whole car.
Yeah, but it was not a bad race, but I'm not sad to see this track go.
Exactly. I mean, if that's the last Spanish Grand, that's probably the best Spanish Grand Prix for at least the last 5 years.
Yeah, and even then, when that's not really saying any spectacular, because as we said earlier, there's no yellow flags, and it's not that you always just need crashes to make anything interesting, but it's just part of the race that can make it interesting is incidents, and all this track really gives us is a tyre battle, a tyre strategy battle. That's all it really gives us. It doesn't really give us much else.
Nico Rosberg crashing into Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, which was Max Verstappen's first win.
Yeah. So
2016?
And we nearly had that again with Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, for another bump and run.
Yeah.
God, doesn't Charles seem upset about that?
Well, they're both angry at each other. Well,
the rift is starting.
It took a big chunk out of Charles Leclerc's front wing.
But I mean, for me, in that incident, I go, that's just racing, and you can't be mad at Sainz. He's now racing for a contract. He's not there anymore. They're racing. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Robin's racing.
He's got a contract. He just hasn't signed it yet.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. You know, he's
I
not
mean,
tied to Ferrari.
He came out over the weekend and said his contract's pretty much sorted where he's going next. Not that he said who it is or what it is.
But yeah, we'll get back to him soon. But I wanted to go over some key drivers, and I can't believe my first key. First we should talk about Max Verstappen. I mean, he won the race, so we've got to talk about him a little bit, so I can use the Max Verstappen song. He did drive a pretty solid damn race to win the race.
Yeah, he held his nerve against Lando at the start, despite Lando pushing him into the grass.
Yeah.
George Russell got a rocket of a start. God, that was such a good start from George Russell to sweep around the outside of both of them into turn one. But yeah, look, Max, and again, he's not winning by 30 seconds. There was a clip of him, because the next race coming up is Austria.
Yep.
I think it was last year or the year before, where he won the race by so much that he stopped before the finish line and did a burnout across the finish line. I mean, he's not exactly that caliber of dominating anymore.
No.
He only beat Lando to the line by 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And Lando took 3 seconds out of him in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, well, the Max Verstappen himself has come out and said that they're no longer the best performing car. They believe the McLaren has caught them. And Toto Wolff has come out and said that Max Verstappen is the one winning the races for Red Bull, which, I mean, he's always played a massive part in that. But I do believe at the moment this is Max Verstappen winning races, not the RB dominance, because there's other cars that are matching it right now, and McLaren's one of them. McLaren, I feel like, has really caught the RB, and if Lando Norris had got a better start, which he even said himself after the race, if he had got himself a better start, we might be talking about a different 1-2 here.
And that's the same in Canada. If he hadn't slipped on the water on the outside of the, he probably would have won that race too. Like, the McLaren's right there now, which is, you know, as someone who sat through the Honda era, is remarkable. That the car has come on leaps and bounds. You know, that Lando Norris is probably the best driver on the grid now, alongside Max Verstappen.
And Charles Leclerc.
In machinery that can match Max Verstappen.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
it's encouraging that we might actually finally get a battle for. We're definitely going to get a battle for the constructors, but hopefully from here on out we can see a battle for the drivers. You know, even if it's between Norris and Verstappen, that'll be.
Yeah. Well, I actually think Lando Norris is second in the championship now.
Yes, he is.
So,
yes.
I mean, we'll get to that later, obviously, but yeah, it's a really bright spark for McLaren at the moment. I don't want this ride to end anytime soon. Yeah,
and so they're the two drivers, the driver of the day and the winner.
The race winner, yeah.
The key drivers, my next key driver is Lewis Hamilton. Like,
he's come back. He's come back. He's not driving on tilt no more. He's actually putting in an effort.
He has the car underneath him.
He's found his mojo lately, and he's actually really taken it to George.
Well, my next key driver is George Russell. I mean, he seems to have taken to this car as well.
Yeah, I think Mercedes has actually found something.
I think that's the James Allison effect, because he had to come in and fix the car, and he's starting to roll out upgrades that are actually working. So it's leading to a very tasty war between.
If Ferrari's upgrades work, we could have a four-way fight every weekend now. Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes.
Well, it's the big deficit for Ferrari is the power unit, how it's designed for early accentuation of the turbo. So when they come out of the corner, they lay the power down, the turbo kicks in straight away. Problem is, it doesn't maintain it over the whole length of a long straight.
Probably not what you want when you go into Spielberg next, but that's alright.
Well, I think with Austria, it'll negate it. Because it's got long straights here, but it's not as long as the main straight at Catalunya.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going into hairpins anyway, which is probably going to benefit them.
Yeah. So I think Austria is the real track where we're going to see what every team is bringing to the party.
Yeah.
But my next driver was Charles Leclerc. I think he's done really well in this race, despite the fact that his teammate was trying to crash into him somewhat, and took a chunk off his front wing.
Yeah. I mean, Carlos is definitely in it for himself at the moment, I think.
He's got to be.
I mean, yeah, you have to be. You sort of have to be now, don't you?
My next key driver was Pierre Gasly.
Yeah, he actually had a really good race.
He was in the points. He's keeping his front end up.
Yep.
And my final key driver, purely because he was one place out of the top 10, is Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
1 point out of the top 10.
Not bad for a Haas.
Yeah. He is making that Haas punch above its weight. It's just a shame that it's not showing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, you can, as much as we criticise Hulkenberg a bit, you can see why teams are interested in him, because he's clearly a driver that will get good performance out of that car and obviously good feedback back to that constructor. He just doesn't have the winning edge that a number one driver has.
He's a number two. He's a number two.
Yeah, and he's clearly quite valuable as that number two, hence why Audi have given him a deal.
Or I think we go back to the movie Rush, where they're talking to James Hunt about joining McLaren. They're like, oh, Jackie X is this and Jackie X is that. And he's gone, do you want a driver or do you want a toothbrush salesman? Because Jackie X won't go for the gap.
Nico Hulkenberg also won't go for the gap.
Yeah.
But
it's comparable, like.
But he's a safe pair of hands, as we've said from the start.
Okay. A grown-up.
Grown up.
So that's my key drivers.
Consummate professional.
That's my key drivers. Then we get the helmet drivers. I don't think there was a hell of a lot of helmet drivers in this race.
They behave themselves for the most part.
So I was sort of scraping the bottom of the barrel here, trying to find 4 drivers for the helmet drivers. My first would be Carlos Sainz. The first person you don't want to take out is your teammate, and a bit of bumping fizzle.
Rubbin's racing.
Rubbin's racing. Next one, purely because he seems to be celebrating his new contract by just having shocker after shocker, is Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
He's just celebrating.
Yeah, eighth is not good enough.
I nearly put Piastri on this list.
They sacked Alex Albon when he was finishing like 6th.
Yeah.
And Perez is out there finishing 8th, and I think he finished 11th in the last race.
Yeah.
Did he finish like 11th in Canada?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
Hey, at least when Albon was in RB, of course he was having his 6th and 7th place finishes, but he was also in a couple of positions to even get a race win if it wasn't for Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. Sergio Perez has been nowhere near a podium finish the last few races.
Perez doesn't have an excuse of Hamilton tipped me around.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to wonder what's going on. And it's the same with Piastri. Like, I didn't put Piastri on the list, but he wasn't in it this weekend either.
And he wasn't really in it last weekend either. Lando Norris has found an extra gear and has left him behind.
Yeah. So I think McLaren and Red Bull both have the same problem of the
I've got 100% more faith in Piastri turning around than fucking Sergio Perez.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. My third helmet driver is Yuki Tsunoda. He finished second last. Wow.
No, we're in it this weekend, the RBs.
He was...
Both RBs.
Well, I mean, Daniel Ricciardo finished 15th.
Yeah, it wasn't a good weekend for the car.
Ricciardo come on towards the end.
Didn't they double points finish in Canada?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Was it track specific maybe? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't mean, like, even...
That would be my guess.
Neither of the Aston Martins finished in the top 10.
Yeah, that's insane.
They feel like a very track-specific car at the moment, the Aston Martins.
Yeah.
Sure do.
And my final one is helmet driver alumni, Logan Sargent. Purely because he finished last.
I can't even vote for him because he finished the race.
Yeah.
You know what? I would almost give him a key driver this week because he actually brought the car home in one piece.
He brought the car home in one piece. He didn't drive off the track.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm going to give it to Sergio Perez.
Yeah, same here. Sergio Perez for me.
I'll have to when you're in the car that the current world champion who's winning races is in, and
You can't
You're
even get
finishing.
to the
Where did
podium.
he finish? Ninth.
Not even podium. You can't even top 5 it. Like,
And,
Yeah, you're letting 2 Mercedes, 2 McLarens, 2 Ferraris ahead of
and the
you.
Ferraris were not great this weekend.
and they flew past
Yeah,
him.
And they flew past him. Yeah, they flew past Sergio.
yeah. You can't have that. You can't when you're in it for a constructors championship as Red Bull are. You
have
can't
that.
be finishing last out of all those constructors that are vying for the
I
title.
think someone should tell Sergio, you're supposed to drink the champagne after the race, not before it.
You know, with Sergio, I almost feel like after that Monaco win, I mean, at that time as well, I feel like he had a little bit of belief. I feel like he had a little bit of belief that he could maybe challenge Verstappen, and Verstappen just put the pedal down and ran away as he did because he's a far better driver. And I feel like it's just taken all the wind out of Sergio Perez, and I think he's come down to the fact that he is just a number 2 at Red Bull, and I think he's happy with that. But he's just got no confidence or no. I don't know what it is. He's just not driving with any
Enthusiasm.
edge. He's just driving with.
There's a lack of enthusiasm
He's
about
going
it.
through the
He's
motions.
yeah.
But Red Bull were happy
Yeah.
to extend him.
Yeah, I mean, they could have. If they wanted a genuine number 2 driver, I'm sure they could have thrown money at Valtteri Bottas. I mean, he's used to being a number 2 behind a world champion.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure he would have relished the shot to be in a Red Bull.
Of course.
And you know what? As much as Daniel Ricciardo has not been good in the RB, I almost would have rathered had just thrown him in for the last 6 months of this year, just to see what he could do because he hopped in
Rick
that.
could give it a shake too. Like
I feel
Sergio
like he
Perez
really would.
isn't willing to give it a fucking shake, but Danny Rick would.
Yeah, I feel like he'd honestly be doing better than Perez, even though he hasn't been doing great in the RB. I just feel like the Red Bull probably would have been a bit more suited for him. I mean, he hopped in it and put it in P2 in his first go. Like, that's why they signed him back up in the first place. He's not going to get that chance, but I almost would have rathered him. Just give him that chance. Then it's obviously better than what Perez is giving you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Sergio Perez is our helmet driver for the week. Get to the news.
Shall we break some news?
Here we go. Breaking news. This literally broke like 5-10 minutes ago.
This was the holy fuck reaction from all 3 of us.
Lance Stroll has signed a new contract with Aston Martin.
Oh,
Why would
hurts
you
my
do
head.
something that dumb?
So Yuki Tsunoda's obviously not going to Aston Martin.
How does he sign a new contract that has nothing on it? It's just it's infinite.
He signed it on toilet paper. What? Why? Why?
So it's to 2026 at this point.
Oh, so it's only 1 year.
It's 2 years.
Oh, it's 2 years. So the end of
Oh, so he must have been up at the end
This
of
is the
this
first
year.
time Lance Stroll's actually had a fucking end date on a contract. It's usually a continuous fucking daddy's money fucking deal.
Do you feel
2025
like
and
then that?
2026.
Do you feel like then that they've got pressure to get rid of Stroll from everyone in that organisation outside of Daddy Stroll, and they've sort of settled for this middle ground where if we put him to 2026. After that, we're going with Honda. Honda's going to put forward we want Tsunoda, and this is sort of the stopgap until then, unless somehow Stroll
has to
comes
be.
out and is
It
amazing.
has to be.
You know the thing
I
is
can't
though.
see anything in him.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is the thing we haven't spoken about, is that Honda will have a little bit of stroke with this. They're not going to want to keep Fernando Alonso. Not after how he carried on when Honda was powering McLaren. Calling
True.
it a GP2 engine and everything.
And
They're
he
not
wasn't
going to
around.
want to keep him. They're not going to
True
want to
that.
keep him. The Honda's got a bit of pride being Japanese and everything. They go like, that fucker insulted us. No fucking way.
Yeah, they might be out for 2 new drivers in 2026.
So Yuki Tsunoda will be in there. You know, get in there, Lewis.
Surely you're not keeping Stroll past 2026.
Oh, who knows?
Surely.
They're just playing the way they're doing the Red Bull now. They're just playing the waiting game.
That's what I feel like it is. It's just a lot of these teams are just signing their stopgaps to the new regs and hoping someone else pops up.
Yeah.
Right. Next news item, and this broke about 2 hours ago, is that Pierre Gasly has re-signed with Alpine for, I think it's 2 years.
Yeah.
End of 2026 as well. You know what? Good on him for for backing himself and going, you know what, I'm going to stay here, particularly seeing that other nutter is getting the boot.
Yeah, well, Esteban Ocon's leaving, so he's in a pretty good fucking spot.
Yeah. I think that's a good get for the team.
I agree. If there was any one of the two knuckleheads they've got they had to keep and invest in for the next few years, it was Gasly. So they've made the right choice for me. Yeah, I think it's a good move by them, good move for Gasly.
And in other Alpine news, Renault, the parent company of Alpine, is talking about at the end of next year ceasing power unit manufacturing and becoming a customer team and hoping to get Red Bull powertrains. Really?
Just fold the team.
Well,
sell. Sell to someone who wants to be a constructor.
Well, apparently someone has broached the idea to Andretti that Renault might sell the team, and Andretti turned around and said, yeah, nah, we want to be our own team, not buy their team and have to assume all their factories and everything. We just want to buy our own shit and buy our own place on the grid. We want to be the 11th team.
I can't blame them for that approach.
Yeah, it's
good on them.
And other Alpine news, we mentioned it 2 weeks ago, but now it is official. Flavio Briatore is back in Renault. He is a... what was the term they used?
Advisor?
He's an advisor. Bernie Thoman answers to him. The only person that Flavio Briatore answers to is Luca Di Maio, the CEO of the Renault Group.
Right.
So he gets a say in the drivers. He gets a say in the power units. But there's a rumour that he is the guy who is going to be brokering the deal to sell the team.
Right.
So, but Flavio, I know Crashgate in 2008, but Flavio, I mean, he's been in charge of Benetton and Renault, you know, when the Michael won the title twice with them. Fernando Alonso won his 2 titles with them. You know, so he is a player in the chess field.
Yeah, he's got some clout.
You know,
he's polarizing, but he's got some clout.
Yeah. And, you know, if that's what Alpine needs to do to get the ship pointing in the right direction, I'm all for it.
Well, it is.
It is.
That's the situation they're in now.
Yeah.
That's the situation they've been in. They needed someone to dig them out of the hole.
Yeah. Someone's got to put a foot up someone's ass over there, and he's the guy to do it.
Flavio's good at putting foots up asses.
Yeah, he puts boots to asses.
Sell the team, get off the grid. Give it to someone who wants to have a go as a proper constructor.
Yeah.
Not someone who's half-assed the team like they have for a long time, and then now there's talk of, do we still... No, you want to be in F1. You're a constructor in F1. You're there to be the fastest car in the grid, to prove to the world that you build the fastest cars in the world. That's what F1 is for. It's not this half-ass pony show, which is what I feel like Alpine's treated it. So if he's there to get them back to being that, I'm all for it. If he's there to broker the deal to sell them, I'm also all for that. Just decide which way you're going to go instead of living in this this whatever world they're in where they're not really doing anything. I mean, gosh, Ryan Reynolds and all his friends are going to feel pretty good about their investment in Alpine at the moment if they're talking about selling and getting off the grid.
I think the best thing that this team could do is rebadge themselves as Renault again. Get away from the
100%.
Alpine branding. Leave the Alpine branding for endurance racing, you know, Le Mans.
Yeah.
Rebadge themselves as Renault Sport, go back to the yellow and black, and try and get some players from, I don't know, from Red Bull powertrains to jump ship to work on that power unit and get it where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because they got to do something. But
But
the final piece of Alpine news, so we've got Pierre Gasly. We've got the other seat. We've got Ocon's seat. Who's going to fill that seat? It's down to 2 drivers. with another 2 drivers being long shots, but it's down to 2 drivers. Both sons of world champions.
So what we got? Mick Schumacher and
Jack Doohan.
I think it's Jack's.
So they're going to let them both run FP1s at various points over the next couple of months to see who performs better in the car, and they're going to sign one of them two.
I feel bad for Jack if he misses out here because I feel like he's bided his time with that team.
Well, he's more odds-on favourite over Mick Schumacher.
Yeah.
But
it's nice that Mick Schumacher's in the fold.
Yeah. As opposed to...
I do want to see Mick on the grid.
Yeah, as opposed to Gunther Steiner saying, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, well, that's your decision.
But the other 2 drivers...
That's why you're not a team principal anymore.
Yeah, that's right. The other 2 drivers that are sort of longer odds to have a crack at that seat are Valtteri Bottas and Carlos Sainz. I don't think Sainz is going to do it.
I don't think Sainz is going to go to Alpine.
I think it may possibly be Valtteri's last shot at this point. Because
I feel if Valtteri's going to move somewhere, it's going to be Williams, or I don't see it being Alpine. I feel like he'll get a lifeline somewhere else.
Well, here's the thing. You know how the FIA has slightly tweaked the super license rules to try and accommodate for Kimi Antonelli getting a super license and joining F1. Everyone thought it was Toto Wolff that applied for it. It wasn't. It was James Vowles at Williams.
Really?
And a lot of people had cracked up and said, no, you changed the rules so that we wouldn't have another Max Verstappen. Now you're changing the rules so you can try and get another Max Verstappen. And it's George Russell who's leading the charge going, no, this ain't right. The rules is rules. You wouldn't let Pato O'Ward get a super license because he didn't have the points or the results or whatever. But you're going to let this kid who's coming in,
He's coming in on reputation alone, because it's not like he's fucking winning the F2 championship. He hasn't even won a race.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's been on a podium yet.
Yeah. You know,
as far as I've heard from Williams, though, they're not interested in Kimi Antonelli because it doesn't fit their strategy for where they're at the moment on their path to getting back to the top. I feel like hence why they've made a massive play for Carlos Sainz. So it's a bit odd Vowles vying for that unless he vowed for it a while ago and has changed tune. But as far as I'm aware, Williams is looking for that solid pair of hands to go with Alex Albon to help push this car up the grid. And Kimi, a young rookie that might have a ton of talent but doesn't have the consistency there, is going to be pretty rough. Doesn't suit Williams' plans for me, but hey, maybe they're pushing for him to go somewhere else.
Well, I mean, look at the 4 options that Carlos Sainz has got. You know, he could go and replace Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes. That's a seat. He could replace Ocon at Alpine. That's a seat. It's probably a pissed-in seat, but it's a seat. Audi. So go to kick Sauber for a year and then join the Audi project. Or go to Williams. I mean, Mercedes looks like the most tantalising one. For me, the one seat where I'm just like, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole is the Alpine one.
Yeah, you wouldn't go anywhere near Alpine at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a resurgent Mercedes. Yep. You've got a Williams that's got a plan to be resurgent.
Yeah, that will start resurging soon.
You've got a fresh start with Audi. And then you've got Alpine.
Yeah, Alpine is like signing for the West Tigers. It's just like, I just don't want to be there.
Or North Queensland Cowboys. Whoops, did I say that out loud? Yeah, so, yeah, look, I'm pretty sure that Sainz is going to sign with Williams, but it wouldn't surprise me if we got a post saying Carlos Sainz had signed with Mercedes. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Because I just don't think Kimi Antonelli's ready. And
yeah, well, Mercedes is like the instant results
Yeah.
Williams is a waiting game. Audi's a waiting game. You're not even
Alpine is a time bomb.
You're not even going to fucking Alpine. And so if you want here and now results, Mercedes is your option. But if you're willing to play the game in the long run, Williams isn't the worst thing.
No.
Neither's Audi.
Yeah. So, yeah.
If you were to take a team for, say, let's just say you're getting a 4-year deal, which team are you taking?
Look,
4-year deal. If you're willing to play the long game, I'd probably Williams. I feel like Williams has got. I mean, Audi's good because you'd have Works backing. Like, it'd be a Works team with good facilities. Like, Audi's massive.
yeah.
Like, honestly, you can be there from the start. Like I said previously, you can be there at ground zero when it starts, and you can have a say in the direction you want the car to go, with Audi's entire backing, which is massive, which is probably as big as Mercedes. So, I feel like Audi's a tantalising option, but if you want, a tried and true, Williams is about to start the comeback.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But if you want, as I said, if you want instant results, Mercedes is there.
And I've got no doubt that Audi's got the cash.
Of course they do. They're huge.
Audi's got the cash to buy a Carlos Sainz.
And they would, because I don't even think Audi's in the World Endurance Championship at the moment. So they're going to put all their resources into Formula 1.
No, because it's Porsche, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Porsche's in there now.
And that's why Audi dropped out of endurance, so that they could focus on F1.
Yes.
Because Porsche was supposed to be joining F1 as well, but they couldn't get... They wanted Williams, but they wanted 50% ownership of Williams, and they weren't willing to sell.
Yeah.
And so...
Good on Williams was sticking to their guns.
Yeah. And Porsche were just like, well, it's not on our terms, so fuck it.
Yeah.
So the higher-ups went, okay, well, you can focus on fucking Le Mans, and Audi can go dominate F1. So, yeah, it's a smart strategy.
Yeah, it is.
And the final news item is that it looks like, if rumours are true, Racing Bull are going to be dumping Daniel Ricciardo probably by the summer break and replacing him for the rest of the year with Liam Lawson.
Yeah, it's imminent, apparently.
I'm not sure how I feel about this. Like,
he hasn't had the best year, but I feel like...
He's starting to have the upward trajectory.
I feel like he's starting to get it together a little bit. His last couple of results were alright.
The only thing that I think would play on his mind is that Sergio Perez just signed a new contract.
Yeah,
he's probably sitting there going, well, that's my fucking career done, isn't it? That's my hope stashed.
Yeah, he's not going up to Red Bull.
It's like having a thing for a girl and then finding out someone else fucking asked her out right before you did.
Yeah, you go.
You just sit there and go, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been saying the whole time that we didn't think Daniel Ricciardo was going to make the main team anyway.
Look, I had hope that he would.
There was a chance maybe last year when he came back that he might, but it dissipated, and this year hasn't been the greatest for him. But I'm actually genuinely surprised VCarb isn't sticking it out. I don't see the reason why VCarb now feel like they need to push it.
I think it's Helmut Marko doing Helmut Marko things.
It's the dark order.
It's almost like Helmut Marko's got not OCD but ADHD or something. Like he's just wired on and hitting caffeine pills and just having an absolute trip. Like, he hasn't done anything in 2 races. Sack him. Yeah.
He's not Max Verstappen. Sack him.
Yeah, he would have been great in medieval times as a guillotine operator. He looked like he stole a loaf of bread off with his head. Chop it, take it, chop him, done, kill him.
Yeah, I don't know why now.
Yeah,
it just seems very subtle.
That's the bit that surprises me. Like, I get it. Ricciardo's performances haven't been up to standard of what they were hoping for, which meant he didn't get the RB spot as much as I would have rathered him see like this out than Perez. There hasn't been there, so I get it. And I also believe, the way it's been going, unless there was some kind of spectacular turnaround where he was getting top 6 finishes for the rest of the year, top 8 finishes for the rest of the year, it was always going to go at the end of the year for Liam Lawson because they had to give him a seat. But to make it imminently is a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing with Williams, because there's a few people talking about who's going to Williams. I mean, it could be Carlos Sainz, could be Valtteri Bottas, but there was rumours that Liam Lawson was in the hunt to go to Williams.
Could it be Ricciardo?
But the other person that was in the hunt to get the Williams seat is Felipe Drugovich.
Oh,
There's a name we haven't heard for a while.
not since he won the F2 last year, the poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Drugovich, apparently he's keen on the Williams seat.
Sorry, not last year, 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's been that long? Yeah.
So Williams has got options.
Williams has got a lot of options, a lot of good options.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fact that we've even got Carlos Sainz on the radar is awesome. You know, to even have that caliber of driver even remotely interested is an awesome sign for Williams. So it's exciting to see who we get. I just do hope whoever we get, it's someone with a bit of promise, a bit of who's shown me a little bit before. Even if it is a Drugovich, I don't mind that move. That guy's won F2. He spent a year in the F1 system, albeit being Aston Martin. I believe that guy's got a bit of talent, and I'd like to see it. I'd like to see him get his shot. But if it's someone like Kimi Antonelli, that's going to kind of make me feel a little bit like, oh, here we are, we're rushing in a rookie that's not ready. We just tried that with Logan Sargent, and look how that worked out. Not that I think Kimi Antonelli is going to be the second coming of Logan Sargent, but I just want someone who's shown me a bit first to be put on our seat, not just betting on potential that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, because
Well, right now it's going to be a driver that has shown potential, or an established hand. So
Yeah.
I think Williams is in a really good spot driver market wise.
and the last two drivers you've had, Logan Sargent and Nicholas Latifi, that you use the word driver very fucking loosely, you know. You put that word in the spreadsheet, you know.
Into Excel.
Into Excel. But there is one thing, there is a big rumour. This is rumour, so I'm not going to put a photo up on it on the video. There's a rumour that you might have been too late to get Adrian Newey.
Yes, I've heard that as well.
The rumour is that he is Ferrari bound.
I've also heard he's backtracking to Aston Martin, so I've got no idea on the Newey front at the moment where he's going.
The race was talking about that, and they reckon the reason why Aston Martin isn't going to get Adrian Newey is because they've got the former head aero guy from Red Bull, Dan Fallows, and he ain't going to want to step down again.
He's going to play second fiddle to Adrian Newey again.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it, I moved away from him.
And it's the same reason why Newey left Williams, because he didn't want to be number 2 guy behind Patrick Head. So
there's the irony in that, and then he goes and becomes the best aerodynamicist in Formula One for like 2 decades.
And it was the same when I think it was Sam Michael was the head aero guy at Williams. He didn't want to be second fiddle to Patrick Head either, you know. But he went nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, look, that's massive for Ferrari.
Yeah, I think it's going to cost them $307 million.
Oh, he's not going to come cheap, but
Yeah, well, you know, he's the greatest aero designer since, I don't know, Colin Chapman.
probably.
You know? Oh, I'm just saying.
Maybe.
You know? But I mean,
He's probably the GOAT.
Look at
Probably is the egg.
look at all the aero guys we've had though over the last 40 odd years. I mean, you've had Rory Byrne.
Yeah.
You've had fucking Adrian Newey. You had Sam Michael.
Yeah.
Patrick Head. James Allison.
Yeah, James Allison. Yeah.
You know.
Newey probably is the GOAT out of all of them.
It's certainly not David Sanchez.
Alright.
Man, he doesn't play well with others.
He doesn't play well with others.
Right. So I'm going to have to bring the screen back up which means I'm going to cover over poor old Longhorn on the television at the end of the video scoop. Yeah. So it's time to do, because that's all the news, it's time to do the driver's standings. And here we are in the driver's standings. First place is Max Verstappen with 219 points. Second place is Lando Norris on 150. Third place is Charles Leclerc on 148. Fourth place is Carlos Sainz with 116. Fifth place is Sergio Perez with 111. Sixth is Oscar Piastri with 87. Seventh is George Russell on 81. Eighth is Lewis Hamilton on 70. Ninth is Fernando Alonso with 41. And 10th is Yuki Tsunoda with 19 points. And the team standings, Red Bull is leading with 330 points. Second place is Ferrari with 270. Third place is McLaren with 237. Fourth place is Mercedes with 151. Fifth place, almost 100 points behind, is Aston Martin on 58 points. Sixth place is RB with 28 points. Seventh place is Alpine with 8 points. Eighth place is Haas with 7 points. Ninth place is Williams with 2 points. And coming dead last with Zut is Kick Sauber. Right. That was the Spanish F1.
Yeah, it was good.
And it's the first race of a trifecta of 3 races in a fucking row.
We're going to be busy.
Because this weekend is Austria.
Starting in exactly 24 hours is the Austrian Grand Prix, free practice one, from Spielberg.
I always enjoy the Austrian F1.
I do love the Austrian Grand Prix.
It's such a great track.
It's a brilliant track.
It's a fun little zippity-doo-dah track.
And McLaren's strong there. Actually, Lando might get a win here. And it's sprint race weekend as well.
If the one thing that could hurt him is the weather.
Yeah, we'll see.
If it rains, it could be a Mercedes and Ferrari fight.
Yeah, well, look, Austria is known for its weather.
Yeah. You know, and it does have the safety car once in a blue moon.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And then I think the next weekend after that is Silverstone.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Apparently ticket sales are a little bit down this year at Silverstone because...
apparently the prices are exorbitant.
Yeah, and the cost of living and all that bullshit. Yeah.
I'm surprised it should sell out, though. If Lando Norris has taken it to Max Verstappen, I can imagine the home crowd there is going to be pretty excited for that.
Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, and George Russell are all in a pretty good vein of form right now with pretty good machinery. I don't know why the fans would stay away willingly. Like, you got 3 British drivers that could potentially all be on the podium if something happens to Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw what happened with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in 2021.
Yeah, exactly.
When Lewis Hamilton put Max Verstappen into the wall at X amount of 1,000 k an hour.
Into the shadow realm at 51G.
Yeah, and then partied like it was on sale for $19.99 afterwards.
Correct. It's alright. Payback's a bitch at the end of that one.
It's okay. Next year it'll be different.
The British flag coming out of that Ferrari.
Oh, God.
That's going to be a weird sight, man.
Oh, you're telling me.
I'm not ready for that.
Oh, how do you think I feel?
Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari race suit.
Oh,
bright
yellow, fluoro yellow helmet poking out of it.
He's gonna? Oh yeah, maybe.
I mean,
the fluoro yellow helmet would, if they keep the yellow stripes on the car, would actually match.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Uncle Fred needs to say to him, right, keep your bad fashion choices at home and leave your fucking fluoro yellow helmet at home. Ralph Schumacher drove for Williams, not Ferrari, mate.
Well, look.
I don't know. I don't have to look, mate.
Look, fluoro yellow's been his helmet his whole career. I mean, you can't just tell him to change it.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Except that when it was plastered with Monster Energy drink logos all over.
It's always been yellow because it's a tribute to Ayrton Senna. That's why he's got the stripes on it.
Yeah, well, I want someone to show up with a helmet that's a tribute to Kimi Räikkönen.
Kimi Räikkönen showed up with a helmet tribute to James Hunt.
Yeah, because when he goes in those piss-up toboggan contests and shit, he enters himself in as James Hunt.
Yeah. Because he's a legend.
He is a legend. If there's a Hall of Fame, he needs to be in it.
Yes, he does.
Right. So, this was our first episode with Monsieur Longhorn on via satellite.
How do you think it went, boys? Did it come through clear and no delays other than the joke delays?
Yeah, no, I think it was alright, mate.
Yeah, it went pretty good. Yeah, it was a very thoroughly entertaining episode, and yeah.
I think you're on less of a delay than what I usually am, but we won't have to wait long because I think next week we'll be doing the old switcheroo, mate. I'll be on day shift and you'll be here.
Back in Pipebomb Studios.
Yeah, that's right. I will. I'll be back in. I'll be back there.
Yeah, so that's going to be good. I'll be the one with the depressed look on my face, not you.
Staring at a screen, looking at two shadows in the dark.
After driving around in a circle for 12 and a half hours.
Well, we've been flooded out with rain at the moment, so we're not even doing that. We're just sitting around playing Uno at the moment, so it's easiest money I've ever made.
It'll be clear as fucking crystal in time for me to go back to work. All right.
Yeah, the rain.
The
rain clears up on Saturday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Just in time for FP2.
Just in time. Just in time for Johnny to go back to work.
All right. Well, that's this week's episode. Next week we're back with Austria.
Yep.
I hope they do something really awesome with the national anthem again, like they did in 2020.
I'm thinking that jet guy.
Yeah.
The air dude that like crashed.
They cut to Piastri.
And Piastri's like, holy shit.
He's like, oops.
Awkward.
That video clip's still going around Twitter, actually.
You know, they need to combine that with the PK kick. Absolute brilliance.
Vintage, man.
The good old PK kick.
Oh, we better do the social medias.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. So you can watch us on YouTube, on the F1 Chat, on the Vindicator 18 channel. We're also on the F1 Chat-1 channel, a dedicated channel. You can interact with us on the Book of Face, on the Facebook, the F1 Chat.
Yep.
We are on X. That's the F1 Chat 1. Don't forget the 1.
More active on X now because I actually linked the F1 account to my account. So now I can actually switcheroo between the accounts and
do the old
switcheroo and actually keep it updated for once.
We're on Rumble, which is the F1 Chat. And we are on the Spotify, the F1 Chat.
That's just us.
Actually, I've had a listener. I should bring this up now while we're on the
Have you been inundated with ad letter?
I've been inundated with a message.
Ooh.
Asking us what are we going to do for the mid-season break episode.
Ooh.
I haven't even thought that far ahead.
Well, he came up with a suggestion. The Dummy's Guide to F1.
Well, we are dummies.
Speak for yourself. I'm a genius.
We can give you the professional guide.
I like it.
Yeah.
We could do a dummies guide where we explain a bit of Formula One history, maybe do a bit of trivia and go through all of Formula One up until this point.
The only downside is one of us is going to be 200 kilometres away when it happens.
That's all right. Brody and I can do this.
Yeah.
We'll have to.
You'll have to pick the week. Either I'm going to be here or he's going to be here. But
maybe one of us will just have to feel a little bit sick one night on our crossover day. See if we can line it up.
Yeah. So I can do it by myself with the voiceover microphone.
Yeah.
Like the intro mic.
We just neither of us show up.
I hope everyone out there liked the new intro as well, because that was...
I'm a fan of the intro. I like it.
Yeah, it took a couple of takes to get it right and get the timing right, but it was pretty interesting doing it, and
I like the Top Gear feel.
yeah, that's what I was going for.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. Keep that.
All right. Well, on behalf of myself,
Right, boys.
Longhorn, JB, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week. Until then, it is goodbye.